Bom dia from Madeira, on our final day here in paradise. To kick things off, here are some of my favorite captures of Madeira's breathtaking waterfalls before we begin our very last adventure of the day. Stay tuned, there's more to come. We started our day in the magical Fainal Forest, sitting at an altitude of around 1,100 meters above sea level. And honestly, the atmosphere could not have been more perfect. We arrived at exactly the right moment, just as the fog slowly rolled in from the ocean, wrapping the ancient trees and the entire landscape in an almost unreal light. The combination of the drifting mist, the silence of the forest, and the twisted old laurel trees created a scene that felt straight out of a fantasy movie. Every step felt surreal, peaceful, and mysterious at the same time. It was one of those rare moments where nature completely takes over and makes you forget everything else around you. Absolutely mystical. And without a doubt, one of the most unforgettable experiences we've had here on Madeira. Of course, the main viewpoint was already quite busy, as you'll see in some of the upcoming shots. But the moment you leave the popular spots behind and take a few steps deeper into nature, everything changes completely. Suddenly, it's just you, the ancient trees, the rolling fog, and the sound of the wind moving through the forest. No crowds, no noise, just pure untouched nature all around you. It honestly felt like having the entire mystical landscape of Fainal all to ourselves. Maybe the fog might seem a little overwhelming to some of you, but trust me, here it's an essential part of the experience. This mystical atmosphere is exactly what makes Fainal so special. Without the drifting mist, the forest would lose a big part of its magic. Here, the fog doesn't hide the beauty, it creates it. We also had the chance to have a little fun with the drone, but only in the areas that were already crowded, where flying wouldn't disturb the peaceful atmosphere or the people around us. It was the perfect way to capture the incredible scale of the forest, the rolling fog moving between the ancient trees, and the dramatic landscape from above. Seeing Fainal from the air made the whole place feel even more surreal and cinematic. I'll leave you alone with these beautiful images for a little while now, and we'll meet again by the ocean for a very special rock formation waiting for us there. See you at the sea. Hello again from the breathtaking northern coast of the island. And just look at this incredible rock formation standing proudly alone in the middle of the ocean. It almost feels unreal, like something from another world. Nature truly is the greatest artist of all time, shaping these dramatic cliffs and towering stones over thousands of years with nothing but wind, waves, and time. Surprisingly, the weather in the north was actually better today than in the south, and we were more than happy to take that little gift from Madeira. The sky opened up just enough to reveal the deep blue ocean, the crashing waves, and this magnificent giant rising from the sea. Moments like these remind you how small we are compared to the raw power and beauty of nature. I honestly could not stop looking at this massive stone in the water. Every angle seemed even more beautiful than the last. The sound of the wind, the salty air, the endless horizon. Everything about this place feels wild, peaceful, and unforgettable all at once. If you ever visit the north side of this incredible island, take a moment to stop, breathe deeply, and simply enjoy the view. Because places like this are more than landscapes. They become memories that stay with you forever. Before starting our trail today, we made one more little stop in the beautiful village of Sisal to capture this picturesque fishing village from above. Nestled between the dramatic green mountains and the endless Atlantic Ocean, Sisal feels like one of those hidden places where time slows down completely. The tiny houses, the peaceful coastline, the dark volcanic rocks, and the deep blue water together create a view that almost looks unreal. Standing up here and watching the waves roll onto the shore while the morning light touches the village was simply magical. Moments like these are exactly why we love exploring Madeira. Every corner of this island has its own unique charm and atmosphere. So take a deep breath, enjoy the incredible scenery, and soak in the peaceful vibes of this little paradise before the adventure continues. And now, it's finally time for the Levada Trail. See you on the hike. On our way to the trail, we once again drove through landscapes that are simply impossible to describe. And then we finally arrived at the trail, the famous Levada do Norte. As we started hiking, the atmosphere suddenly began to change. Slowly, the fog rolled into the forest, covering the trees and mountains in a soft white veil. With every step deeper into the trail, everything became more mysterious, more magical, almost otherworldly. The silence of the forest, the sound of water flowing through the Levada, and the mist moving between the ancient trees created a feeling that is hard to put into words. It felt like walking through a hidden world untouched by time itself. Once again, we were not able to see the famous views from the trail. The thick fog had completely covered the landscape around us. But honestly, this made the experience even more special in its own unique way. The hike itself is relatively easy and enjoyable at first, following the peaceful Levada do Norte through the misty forest. But eventually, we reach the first tunnel, and this is where you definitely need to be careful. The tunnel is quite narrow in some sections, and parts of it are surprisingly low, so make sure to watch your head while walking through. The atmosphere inside becomes even more intense as the darkness completely surrounds you and the sound of dripping water echoes through the tunnel walls. After coming out of the first tunnel, our original plan of completing the entire trail was quickly thrown overboard. Right in front of us was another tunnel, even longer this time, stretching for almost 1 full kilometer through complete darkness. And honestly, after already walking through one narrow tunnel, we really did not feel like spending another long stretch in the dark with wet feet. Especially because parts of the second tunnel were partially flooded, making the whole experience look even more uncomfortable and challenging. So instead of forcing it, we decided to change our plans and simply follow the Levada a little farther until the entrance of the next tunnel, before turning around and heading back the same way. But in the end, that decision did not take away from the adventure at all. The foggy forest, the mysterious atmosphere, the quiet sound of the water, and the dramatic scenery along the trail already made this hike incredibly special and unforgettable. Sometimes the best travel moments are not about finishing the entire route, but about enjoying the experience, adapting to nature, and simply appreciating the atmosphere around you. Just before reaching the second and much longer tunnel, we were treated to one more little highlight along the trail. Hidden between the moss-covered rocks and the misty forest was this tiny opening through the cliffs, complete with yet another beautiful waterfall flowing straight through it. At this point, I honestly have no idea how many waterfalls I saw today anymore, completely lost count somewhere along the trail. Everywhere we looked, water was pouring down the mountains, flowing through the forest, or appearing out of nowhere between the rocks. Madeira truly feels like a paradise built from waterfalls and green wilderness. And with the thick fog still moving through the trees, this little spot felt even more magical, almost like discovering a hidden secret deep inside the forest. As we finally reached the long tunnel, we were greeted once again by a truly majestic waterfall hidden deep within the fog. Emerging from the cliffs like something out of a fantasy movie, the water crashed down through the dense mist while the surrounding forest disappeared into the clouds around us. It almost felt as if nature wanted to give us one final unforgettable moment before heading back. And honestly, standing there in front of this hidden waterfall, surrounded by mist and silence, was one of the most magical moments of the entire hike. The way back turned out to be surprisingly easy, except for the tunnel section, where we once again had to stay careful and watch our steps in the darkness. But after all the misty forests, waterfalls, hidden passages, and unforgettable scenery, even the final stretch of the hike felt like part of the adventure. And just like that, our day, and sadly also our vacation here on Madeira, comes to an end. Tomorrow morning it will be time to say goodbye to this incredible island. Goodbye to the dramatic mountains, the endless ocean views, the peaceful levadas, and the magical forests hidden in the clouds. But honestly, this does not feel like a final farewell. The plan is already set. We want to come back in December, because there are still so many trails left to explore here on this beautiful island, and Madeira has a way of making you want to return the moment you leave. Until then, bye-bye, take care, and happy trails.